I am hanging out with Madam Sunshine. This float won 3rd place in non-commercial, and I'm already in trouble. I was going to ask questions, but I think I'm just going to be quiet before I get hurt. So we'll see you guys later. I'm going to sit down because that's what they're...
Given the current controversy over gun control, the Dallas mayor is asking the National Rifle Association not to hold their annual meeting in Dallas this year. Today, he said he thinks the event is inappropriate following last week's shooting.
Thank you, ma'am.
Raleigh, thank you. Very nice post. Cody, back to you.
She was so adorable.
I don't think we pulled it off as well as she did.
Probably not.
She was stealing the show there. You're stealing the show for a lot of folks in need of some rain.
Oh, yes.
You know, we've talked to some people on floats and all of that fun jazz, but I wanted to talk to somebody who's here watching the parade. This is the whole reason we host it. Here's my friend Elena, and I just met her just a little bit ago. Elena, what grade are you in?
Second.
2nd grade. What's your favorite part about the rodeo parade so far?
The rodeo parade, seeing my cousin Aubrey.
Oh, what float was she on?
She was on one of the floats, besides, like with a lot of girls and boys.
That's fun. Do you like the rodeo? You enjoy going to the rodeo?
Uh-huh.
What's your favorite part of the rodeo?
Seeing the bulls, maybe.
And all the deep fried foods, that's my favorite part.
Uh-huh.
Elena, thank you so much for chatting with me. You're a tough interview.
You're welcome.
Back to you guys.
San Angelo school administrators released a statement today on school safety. The district has proactive measures in place regarding student and staff safety and follows Texas State School Center guidelines, which includes regular drills. Today, SAISD handled 2 separate situations involving social media posts indicating alleged threats. Sources confirmed to KLST that one incident was handled by the Central High School Administration. A separate incident was handled by SAPD via arrest. No other details were provided. In SAISD's statement today, officials stated both indictments are contained. Here in historic Bridgeton, part of the Covered Bridge Festival going on here today all through the rest of the week. Over 1 million people will make their way through Park County over the next week as they try and get the best food, the best crafts, and just enjoy all the beautiful sights and sounds that Park County has to offer.
All right, Cody, how long has the wait been at that location where you are right now?
Yeah, here it's a little bit longer. I talked to some polling workers. They told me at some point it's been an hour-and-a-half wait. Right now it's sitting right around 35 minutes to wait. But remember, as long as you are in line by 6 o'clock this evening, you will get to cast your vote, but you have to be in line ready to vote. Let's take a live look outside. Man, it is absolutely gorgeous outside today, but Dan says tomorrow may be a little bit awkward just because you don't really know what's going to happen.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward to say.
Allie Allen and her partner John only see their children for hours at a time. That's because CPS has accused these parents of abuse. The charges date back to when their oldest son had a medical emergency at just 4 months old.
He called me hysterical and said, "Jackson, stop breathing, you need to get to the hospital."
While at the hospital, a representative from Child Protective Services arrived to speak to Allie and John. They were told it was just protocol, but what doctors saw on baby Jackson's x-rays changed everything.
The radiologist told us that they had found 4 old fractures, and I thought they had the wrong room.
They also found a new fracture that was located on a rib. It was enough for CPS to intervene, leaving Allie and John scared and confused.
I understand them getting involved at that point. What the frustration came from was they never tried to find an answer.
Allie and John were accused of child abuse, and Jackson was placed into foster care. James White is with the Department of Child Services. He would not answer questions about Allie and John's case, but says most of the time they rely heavily on the opinion and diagnosis of hospitals.
In Indiana, we're blessed to have a children's hospital that is excellent and has great child abuse and neglect experts. That's what they specialize in.
White says many people don't realize or understand they can't remove a child without the approval of a judge. It works as a checks and balance system. But in Indiana, he says they're a bit more conservative than other states.
We err on, no, we think that child may not be safe there, and we need to intervene.
Allie believes that decision by DCS to be cautious isn't fair to the parents.
We were immediately accused of child abuse. There was no, you're innocent until proven guilty. We have been guilty until we have proved ourselves innocent.
Allie and John's life was turned upside down when they took away their first child. But there was a glimmer of hope, the birth of their second child. It brought happiness back into their life.
only to have that vanish once again.
They came in to take Jamison down for a circumcision, and that's when they came in and said, we're seizing your child.
Wyde says in many cases it's not uncommon for them to get involved in the life of a second child.
To bring another child that, again, can't defend themselves, they're newborn, so they're defenseless, then that would raise some concerns.
Allie and John's battle to get their kids back led them to Dr. David Ayub, a radiologist in Springfield, Illinois. He specializes in the study of a disease called rickets and claims it's the cause of the misdiagnosis of many child abuse cases.
Rickets simply is the inability to normally mineralize or harden bones.
He says the issue of misdiagnosis is more than just misreading an x-ray or test results.
With CPS, with courts, with child abuse pediatrics, these are industries, and they make a living in this area. So you really, and they're the ones that are responsible for diagnosing real abuse, but also overdiagnosing medical conditions as abuse.
Allie and John had Jackson tested, and sure enough, he was diagnosed with rickets. Their battle to get Jackson and Jamison back continues 3 years after Jackson was first taken from the home.
You know, and it's hard having things here, you know, outfits that have never been worn, and blankets that have never been used, and days that go by when something big happens and, you know, they can't be a part of it.
But James Wyde with the DCS says their intent isn't to keep families separated.
And the time could be a little bit longer because of different things that could come into the picture. But our goal is still the same, is to first reunify that family, but we want to do it safely. The child has to be safe.
What if I told you Vigo County has a sixth sense, kind of like the ability to predict the future? In politics, there's a name for that. Vigo County is a bellwether.
Bellwether is best described as a voting mirror to the nation as a whole. Vigo County is one of just a handful of counties that also has a good history of saying that we vote in the similar way of the nation on who's going to ultimately win the general election.
Since 1888, Vigo County has correctly voted for the presidential winner in the general election all but 2 times. Those were in 1908 and 1952. That's 30 out of 32 elections that the county has voted for the winner. Of course, it's not actually a sixth sense. There's no magical algorithm. But Indiana State University political science professor Matt Bergbauer has his thoughts on why Vigo County seemingly is always right.
You want to say, well, it has to be more than coincidence. I tend to lean away from economics and away from demographics of the county and more towards, well, the political makeup. Once again, ideology and party ID, and saying, well, we must have a pretty good representative sample of that type of characteristics.
The word mirror is probably a better description. It's not like the county is making the deciding vote or anything, but after nearly a century of mirroring the nation, even the candidates are taking notice.
Vigo County has been a bellwether for the state of Indiana and for the country, and we are campaigning hard to earn the vote of every man and woman across the state of Indiana. Indiana is a battleground, and the entire nation is looking to Indiana right now to make a choice.
There's another possible reason why Vigo County has been so spot on.
In the political areas, you could maybe say that, well, the nation overall has a third Republican and a third Democrat, and around a third are independent. And you could probably identify Vigo County as having some similar ideological or partisan leanings that mirror the nation, and thus produces presidential results time and time again that pretty good with the nation overall.
This area is the crossroads of America. We have everything from farmers, teachers, construction workers, and doctors. Basically, Vigo County is a perfect sample size of the country as a whole. And the way the country decides who to elect is pretty simple.
It's a pendulum, so to speak, of where the country's getting too liberal, so we swing it back by voting in a Republican, and then they'll say we're getting too conservative, and they'll swing it back to voting a Democrat or a liberal back in office. And we never quite get in the middle with the moderation that maybe the American voter seeks the most, so we go back and forth between a Republican and Democrat.
So basically, it's a series of patterns, but whether you believe that or perhaps the county just knows what's going on, just remember, you have a streak to keep going. In Terre Haute, Cody Adams, NBC2 News.